SEGA.
Hey all, and welcome to the Sonic Generations playthrough. I'm the Flameclaw.
I'm Chris.
I'm Stephen.
And Sonic Generations is the 20th anniversary game of Sonic the Hedgehog. And it might seem weird that we're doing this game now, but honestly, this was a game I covered quite a long time ago, back in 2012, on my own, and that playthrough wasn't very good. I died a lot, I made a lot of stupid mistakes, and so I thought, now we're at another anniversary year, I may as well revisit it, play it a bit better, and actually have people who know what they're talking about to join me, and hopefully it'll go a little bit better this time. So, to get straight into this, Stephen, what's your experiences with Sonic Generations?
Loved it.
Any more than that?
That's all that needs to be said. It's the last great Sonic game.
I can actually see where you're coming from there, at least in this point in time. Chris, you got any experience with this one, mate?
Yeah, I loved it as well, but what came out, when did Colours come out?
Colours was just before this. It was Unleashed Colours, then this game.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, but this is, brilliant game. All the best of Sonic put into one game. What's not to like?
Pretty much, yeah. I will say, going back to this, I think it's lost a little bit of its charm to me. That's not to say it's bad, it's just that, it's the sort of game that on repeat playthroughs you sort of notice its problems sticking out that little bit more. But we'll get into certain things as and when it's appropriate. But to start off with, where else to start with this kind of game than Green Hill Zone? This is, when you think of Sonic the Hedgehog, this is exactly what you think of, isn't it?
It is the Sonic level, isn't it? It's the, what's the Mario version of Green Hill?
Well, it's just World 1-1, isn't it, from Super Mario Brothers. It's got a much more distinct sort of theme to it than World 1-1 has, though, which kind of really does work in Sonic's favour a lot. Sonic's got that little bit more character to it than Mario has in general, and that's why I've come to grow more and more fond of this series, despite all its many, many pitfalls.
3DS version was just a copy and paste of the original Green Hill Zone.
It was the same layout, exactly the same layout.
Just ever so slightly 3D.
Yeah, I think Dimps did that with all of the classic levels in Gen's 3DS. You know, it was Green Hill, Casino Night, and Mushroom Hill. I think those three were all copy and paste for their classic versions.
Right.
Which I would complain about being lazy, but then when you consider it was Dimps handling it, and Dimps have their own level design quirks, it's probably best they take a step back there. Although they did handle the new stages, the modern stages in Gen's 3DS, which overall that version of the game, it's okay. It's a little bit underwhelming, but that's underwhelming compared to this, which has a lot more sort of production value to it.
I do really like the look of classic Sonic in 3D.
Yeah, he's so chibi and adorable.
Yeah,
It's like all that innocence before all the shit hit the fan.
Pretty much, yeah.
Loved his celebration at the end.
But the general story here, and the story is one of the problems I mentioned, it's very lightweight, but the story is it's Sonic's birthday party and shit's about to happen, and that's pretty much it, which the general premise of the story, that's all it really needs to be. The problem is, I think the writing of individual moments, like the dialogue and things like that, it feels like it's obvious a lot was left out, I should probably say.
Yeah, still better than most other Sonic games.
Do you think Sonic needs much of a story though, or do you think it's more gameplay over the story really anyway? Or?
I like simplistic stories that are written well. I'd say probably Unleashed is really good, because it's quite a basic premise, but they go into it quite a bit. You know, like Eggman's blown the world apart, Sonic's got to go fix it. That's pretty much all of Unleashed story, but there's more meat to that as you go through it. There's more like character, dialogue, all that sort of stuff that holds it together. Whereas this, you've got again a very simple premise of you got this giant fucking really loud time eater,
and that's kind of
and
basically,
but the parts in between, all the off-cut scenes and that, it's just,
stitch it together.
Yeah, pretty much. It just holds it together and that's it. It's like they just wrote the bare minimum and called it a day. By Tails.
At least they don't give us some over-convoluted story like 06.
Yeah, well, that is a positive. So this is the kind of confusion people have when you talk about Sonic stories. A lot of people do tend to think very much in extremes of either really complicated story or no story. You can have a simple story that's written well. It's not entirely off limits to do that. But this is the hub world of the game. I think it's just called the White World, and it's a glorified menu screen, basically. Sonic just runs through it, you go to your levels and that. And that's pretty much it. But for the other level we're going to cover in this part, it's Act 2 of Green Hill. And I will say I was so fucking excited when I just saw this for the first time, just Green Hill in full 3D with the Unleashed or Boost gameplay. This is just hyper shit, you know.
The modern Sonic gameplay in this is perfect.
Essentially, yeah. It's a polished up version of Unleashed's gameplay. What they've done is they've toned down some of the graphical effects, like you know, the lighting engine. Lighting engine is the Hedgehog engine. It is still here from Unleashed. They just sort of toned it down a lot because that was what was causing the frame drop issues in Unleashed. Because they really went overkill with the graphics in Unleashed and it really showed.
But you like the Hedgehog engine, didn't you?
It's beautiful.
Brilliant graphics and stuff, isn't it?
It is absolutely gorgeous to look at. What I would like is I would like to see the Unleashed style usage of it again now we've got more capable consoles. Because the problem was that Unleashed came out on 360 and PS3 and neither of those were powerful enough to handle it. I think they could probably do more with it now we've got like the PS4 and that. I think that could, maybe not to the full extent it was in Unleashed, but maybe turned up a bit from how it is in this game. But yeah, I've noticed in the modern versions of classic levels, they do add little bits which I appreciate, like that part we just ran through there with the shark chasing us. It's an underground version of Green Hill Zone, and that kind of it reminds me a little bit of the underground section from the 8-bit Green Hill Zone, from the Master System and Game Gear version of Green Hill. Because it did seem bizarre that they went underground in that, like in the first level, but that was quite a memorable part of that game to me, just going underground in the first level. Now, given we were talking about Unleashed's performance, I think I should probably address that for this playthrough I'm playing the Xbox 360 version of Sonic Generations, and unfortunately that particular version is capped at 30 FPS, which it's better than Unleashed in a way because at least it manages to keep to 30 with a couple of exceptions, like minor sections that drop and that when it's more intensive on screen. For the most part it's stable 30. It's still incredibly weak compared to the PC version, which runs at 60. The problem is that I unfortunately don't have a system that can play the PC version, so I just have to take what I can get. But ladies and gentlemen, that was Green Hill Zone.